Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We've got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto. Guys, this is your morning show where we bring you the latest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news, on-chain, and technical analysis. And in today's show, we are going to be talking about a bank, a digital bank in Europe known as N26. And that bank has just brought online cryptocurrency trading through a partner with a white-labeled trading exchange over in Europe. 100 different cryptocurrency trading pairs that you are now going to be getting access to if you live in Austria and you are doing business with this bank. We're also going to be talking about none other than one of my friends and colleagues here on YouTube, Scott Melker. He interviewed somebody and they gave the TLDR, the scoop on what it will take for Bitcoin to go back into a massive bull market. If you want to know the one thing that will lead Bitcoin back into a huge bull rally, we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. We're going to look at some of Elon Musk's exploits. As you guys know, richest man on the planet. The dude's an absolute legend. Some love him, some hate him. Not very many people have no opinion on him. What I think, he's made a ton of money, is extremely influential, and he's not perfect, just like none of us. However, in this video, I also want to detail some of his exploits recently, some of the things that he's said. As you guys may know, the Twitter deal should be going through here on October 28th if everything goes according to plan and according to the letter of the law in court order. So we're going to talk about that as well. But the main thing we're going to actually be diving into today is some TA on none other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Avalanche, and Polkadot. And if we have time, we might add one more into the mix there if you do want that. By the way, thank you very much for tuning in. We had almost 1,500 people tune in live yesterday. Thank you so very much to everyone who has taken time out of your busy, important, scheduled day to spend time with me here to look at some charts. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. We already got 100 likes on the stream, almost about 83 right now. So make sure you smash that like button. Let's get to 200 even before we get started. And if you also enjoyed today's stream, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get that subscriber number going on up there. And make sure to follow us on Twitter at Coffee and Crypto over on Twitter. That Twitter handle will be changing at some point in the near future. Back to Crypto Jebb, so look out for that. We're going to go ahead and read some green names, and then we are going to have a lovely stream, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's see here. We're going to go ahead and read through some of this. And by the way, remember, I have a cold, so I've been getting progressively sicker and sicker and sicker as the week is going, and Sarah's also sick, and I have the luxury as the guy of being able to take medicine. She's pregnant, so she's just kind of up a creek without a paddle right now, trying to just let it all pass through. So be praying for us. We both got, I don't know what it is. I think it's the flu. I don't think it's the certain thing that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube, the unnameable pandemic that we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube, because YouTube is for disseminating information, but only the information that the masses are allowed to hear, as given down by the YouTube lords of the space. Nevertheless, we had a good launch, and we do appreciate everybody here. Let's go ahead and read some green names. First one being Jeremy Shorter, said, "Good morning, Crypto Jebb fans." Good morning, Jeremy Shorter. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got green names. Green names. I'm going to read some green names. Hey, look, it's green names. Thank you, green names, for being a green name. That was, I believe, grammatically correct. Justin Eubanks said 14th. By the way, I got to give a shout out to who was first. Oh, look, it was me. I was first. Ha! I guess I'm always first because I'm the one that's running the stream. Let's see. We also have a Mellow Fellow. You know, my dad really loved Mellow Yellow for a long time. So that every time I read your name, I always think of Mellow Yellow. You can't ever find it down here in Florida. Everybody just drinks Mountain Dew. But yeah, that's what that reminds me of. Steve B in chat as well. Gia S in chat. Jeremy Shorter again, a mellow fellow again. Wars up, Jebb? Well, hopefully not. What's up? Yeah, Sky in the ceiling. How you feeling, my friend? Let's see. We also got Gia S in chat again. Grand Roofing Incorporated. I'm sorry, I have to sing it that way every time I see your name. Shout out to you, my friend. We got Silent in chat. Jojo. Let's see. Who else that we haven't given a shout out to yet? Justin Eubanks, I believe I said your name. Matt C's in chat. Good to see Matt C. Let's see. The classic IT guy. Good deal. Brad Geidel in chat. Good to see you guys. Martine Siebels said, how are you, your wife, and the kid? I am getting progressively sicker. I thought I was getting better yesterday, but turns out I am not getting better. I am still getting worse. So I hopefully just sleep and time is going to let it go. But I'm hoping by next Monday I won't sound like a horse stuffed up dude. That I don't know. I don't know what joke to put in there. Hopefully I'll sound better for the stream here in a little while, and I won't sound so stuffed up. Crypto Mini Bike also in chat. As far as Sarah and Malachi, our son, are going, Malachi's gotten quite a bit better. He's still not feeling great. Still kind of not wanting to eat a whole lot just because his stomach's probably messed up, but we're getting there. We're blessed regardless. We have air to breathe, water to drink, food to eat, roof over our head, clothes to keep us warm, because it was nearly freezing this morning down here in Florida. Definitely thankful for warm clothes. Crypto JMP also here said, I'm here. Hello. If it's yellow, let it mellow. There you go. Let us see here. Am I missing anybody before we jump in? Got Crypto Mini Bike. Appreciate all of the green names. And by the way, if you want to be one of the green names, part of the Green Name Squad, otherwise known as the Jebbi Knights, you can hit that join button right below the stream. But if you don't want to do that, it's totally fine. You can also hit that like button. That's right by the join button. Both of those help to support the channel. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. We're going to start off here with this article over on Coindesk.com. Online bank N26 to offer crypto trading through Bitpanda's trading product. This is pretty interesting because this is one of those times where we're seeing a bank start to mingle with crypto. And this is a good example of adoption going on even during the bear market. Austrian N26 customers will be the first to have access to around 100 cryptocurrencies via the bank's application, with more to follow in the coming months. Digital bank N26, and by the way, when it says digital bank, it literally does mean digital. They don't have any physical branches, no physical locations. The whole thing, I think that even their entire staff is remote. It is a completely work from home and digital-based bank. They are entering the crypto world and will allow select customers to buy and sell cryptocurrencies on its app. The Berlin headquartered N26, so maybe they do actually have a headquarters, but it seems like the vast majority of the bank, even its employees, seem to be digital. It might just be the branch offices are digital or from a remote. N26 will leverage Austrian crypto exchange Bitpanda's trading and custody platform to give some of the bank's customers access to up to 200 cryptocurrencies for trading, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and XRP. The $9 billion European digital bank, which operates entirely online and doesn't have traditional bank branches, hasn't had the easiest couple of years despite its valuation, having failed to penetrate the UK and the US markets and having to spend time on toughening AML and KYC controls that different nations are implementing. So this is a really big deal because, as you guys know, cryptocurrency is the next phase of financial institution making, if you want to put it that way. Institutions traditionally work with sovereign currencies, and maybe they also work with stocks, maybe they work with bonds. Oftentimes banks work with mortgages. That's one of their big ticket products. But it's not too common, even 13 years on since Bitcoin was created, for banks to be working with cryptocurrencies. And ultimately, that's gonna have to change because Bitcoin's here to stay. We talked about the other day how Bitcoin is currently, even though it's down 75% from all-time high, it is still a $370 billion industry. I mean, I'm talking just Bitcoin alone is worth $367 billion. Crypto as a total, even being down 60-70% total market, industry-wide market cap, still sitting at $921 billion. You'll have to excuse me if I have to take a second here to blow my nose. But nevertheless, the point is Bitcoin is a massive industry, even when it's on the dip. So these banks are starting to realize, wow, gee whiz, we've really got to get into this because it's a $1 trillion market. Even when it's not doing a whole lot, this thing's here to stay, and the banks can't deny it anymore. So some of these smaller, scrappier banks that are trying to get a leg up on the JP Morgan and, the TD Ameritrade and all these different major financial institutions of the world. They're taking any opportunity that they can get to get a competitive advantage. And one of the ways that they can do that is by offering cryptocurrency products and then applying that to the younger generations who are trying to get into Bitcoin and are really gung-ho about it. And, the 30-something and 40-something-year-olds that have a family and they just want to start building up a retirement fund because maybe they started late. Maybe they want to be more aggressive with their investments. Maybe they're very digitally minded. Maybe they're more independent and libertarian minded and they want to get into Bitcoin. So they're going to start, these banks, they're going to start going after these people who are more, insofar as the technology, more technologically minded and more conservative in the idea of monetary policy. So they're going to start going after these people to try and get that competitive advantage. N26 is just an example of that. And it's a big trend that's going on in banking where banks are trying to get this demographic, the demographic that's watching this stream right now, to use their services because they know if they don't, they're going to get left behind by whoever does. Now, speaking of banks, there is a certain central bank that you may have heard of called the U.S. Federal Reserve. And a good friend of mine, Scott Melker, actually interviewed someone just a couple days ago named James Butterfill, and he had something to say about what will bring on the next bull market. So shout out to both of them. Let's go ahead and read this article over on cryptonews.com. Shout out to Scott for getting into cryptonews.com. You can see Crypto Expert believes this one catalyst can trigger new bull market rebound incoming. Scott Melker and James Butterfill. Source a video screenshot from Scott Melker's YouTube. Make sure to go subscribe to him and tell him I sent you if you haven't already. He is a really cool guy. I got to talk to him quite a bit over the last couple of months. James Butterfill, head of research at digital asset managers CoinShares, argues that there is one catalyst that could take Bitcoin and the crypto market straight into the next bull run: a Federal Reserve pivot. Now, this is maybe something that you were expecting. There's not a whole lot right now that could just one event, boom, send Bitcoin back up into a major bull market, other than a Federal Reserve pivot. As you guys know, we have seen a massive amount of attention on the U.S. Federal Reserve's effective federal funds rate. It's impacting all kinds of things, and one of the things that it's impacting is Bitcoin. It's obviously impacting real estate. It's impacting money markets all around the world, traditional financial markets, where these different companies, they would love to go out and get a $100 million loan, but the interest rates are so much higher, so it's making the economy kind of tighten a little bit. And the Federal Reserve has even said, hey, look, even if this brings a lot of pain to the economy, they still want to try and get inflation under control through this method of raising interest rates and through quantitative tightening, which is, in my opinion, just the revocation of the thing that brought about the inflation in the first place. But nevertheless, I've definitely got a lot of bones to pick with the Fed and the way they run things. That's why I'm a Bitcoin guy. Nevertheless, he's totally right. It goes on to say this. James Butterfill, he was an executive at CoinShares, said, until the Fed backs off, we're not really going to see any kind of measurable rise in the Bitcoin price. And ultimately, I got to agree with him. Unfortunately, Bitcoin is very closely tied to the effective federal funds rate right now, which, as you know, is sitting around 3 to 3.25 at the moment. And we're expecting that to rise another 75 basis points here in the next couple of weeks. I believe their next meeting and their next announcement is November the 1st to the 2nd, when we do see that effective federal funds rate update come out, that rate hike come out. Obviously, we'll be covering it on this channel. Extremely important data. That and CPI, some of the very most important data that we're going to be looking at, as well as U.S. gross domestic product. We're waiting on quarter threes to come out relatively soon. Here in a few weeks, we're going to start getting some preliminary data that way. But the effective federal funds rate amongst those three, U.S. quarterly gross domestic product, U.S. year-over-year CPI, both headline and core, and the effective federal funds rate, those are the three big numbers that we're focusing on traditionally. And the effective federal funds rate is by far and away the biggest, most important, because it's one of the things that's driving those other numbers. And if we do start seeing it coming down, it's going to be great. As I've told you before, though, we're probably not going to see EFFR, which is that number, start to plateau and pivot to the downside for another 6 to 12 months. Effectively, the Federal Reserve has come out and said, essentially, they're going to keep raising rates until inflation starts coming down. Inflation came back at 8.20% a week ago, I believe it was, when that CPI data came out. And unfortunately, that was only 0.06% lower than a month ago when it came back at 8.26%. So we've got several more months of high inflation because, you know, the 11th month and 12th month data, because a rolling average, it's a moving average that takes a rolling data set. Some of that older data has yet to fall off where we have super high gas prices. And now we got gas prices going up again. That's one of the big things driving that inflation number is energy values. But the thing is, those values have been so high for so long now that you go back a year and we're almost to the point where $2 a gallon gasoline is completely forgotten about. It's been over a year, so it's not even going to factor into the data in the first place. So the interest rate could come down. Sorry, the inflation rate, CPI rate could come down for that reason. But nevertheless, the thing that you need to know is that the Federal Reserve is going to keep raising those rates until either the inflation comes down to meet the rate, or they get the rate all the way up to wherever the inflation is so that they can bring them down together. If it drops down to if CPI drops down to 5% and it takes them that long to raise it up to 5%, then they're going to meet, and then they'll both come down together. That's kind of what they're trying to do. They're waiting for CPI to come down the mountain. They're going up the mountain, and then they want to go down the mountain together. That's the idea. And then they want to bring that rate back down to about 2.5% to 3%. Both in inflation and in the funds rate, so that they have some things to work with in the future if another recession were to come, which pretty much every single CEO in anything financial right now is calling for. So that's unfortunate. But nevertheless, the point is, before Bitcoin does see a major rally, you're going to have to see a Fed rate pivot, and that could be many months away. There are only 2 meetings left this year. Both of them are probably going to be 75 basis point hikes. By the end of the year, you're probably going to see 4 to 4.5%. Probably 4.5 to 5% actually, because those two rates are probably going to be 75 basis points. So anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention. We've talked about it a lot. Just want you to realize, hey, it's not just me talking about a Fed pivot being one of the most important things that we can see right now. Scott Melker and James Butterfield also talked about it as well. Definitely encourage you to go watch that interview. I haven't had a chance to watch the full thing yet, but I probably am going to go do that today. So shout out to Scott. One last thing I do want to mention here before we read some chat, and then we'll jump into some technical analysis, is this. Just want to give you a little bit of updating on the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. He is none other than Elon Musk. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. We've talked about him only about 100 million times on this channel, and he is extremely influential for global markets. Elon Musk says Tesla is pedal to the metal, even with potential recession looming. I wonder why he wouldn't just say that they're going to stay on the gas. Tell me that one in the comments. I'm sorry, that was terrible. That was a dad joke. Well, on Tesla's third quarter earnings call, CEO Elon Musk said the company is not cutting production in any meaningful way, recession or not recession. Which, just let's pause here for a second, indicates that Elon Musk also thinks that there may be a recession coming. Or at least he is taking people who think that a recession is coming as taking that seriously. So that's something to keep in mind there, is that he is entertaining the idea that a recession could be coming at some point relatively soon. He said, "We're very pedal to the metal come rain or shine." Regarding Musk's proposed $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, he said that the company sort of languished for a long time, but has incredible potential. Just want to go over all three of these statements really quickly here. Let's start with the company is not cutting production in any meaningful way, recession or not recession. Okay, let's back up here. Tesla is unlike any other auto manufacturer in the entire world. This company has a ridiculously high market capitalization to its revenue. That ratio, their PE ratio, is absurd. And a lot of people basically justify that crazy PE ratio because of Elon Musk and how much attention he's got, the amount of brand affinity that Tesla has because of how personal it is. I mean, we're in an era where we're transitioning from companies taking themselves so seriously that they've got to get everything perfect and everything right. And I'm Walter Cronkite. You know, that era is dying. It's dead. That what people want is their car to sing them Christmas carols on December 24th. And that's what a Tesla does. That what they want is a CEO who's not taking himself so seriously. And yeah, you might not agree with everything he says, but at least he's entertaining, right? That's what the world is pivoting towards, is get rid of all this scrunched up tie. You know, guys, we just got to be so professional. I got my black briefcase that I'm walking around with. We're getting away from that world. We're getting into a world where people want the CEO of the company that they love to be entertaining. Elon Musk defined a generation of celebrity CEOs. Before him, it was Steve Jobs. It's been a trend for the last 25 years, ever since social media really started taking off. So what does that mean for Tesla? Well, Tesla, because of his ridiculous fame, has so much money at its disposal that it can just continue operations through a recession, even if it's not able to make a profit on every single car it makes. Because they are trying to dominate the electric vehicle market, which has gotten a whole lot more competitive over the last several years as you see competitors like Rivian coming online, as you see competitors like Toyota, which is the largest auto manufacturer in the world, starting to get hybrids to be a really big deal. As you start to see, Ford and Chevrolet and all these other companies investing heavily into EVs, you start to see Tesla really wanting to make sure that they maintain that number one EV manufacturer status, at least in the new world here. Now, what he meant by very pedal to the metal, come rain or shine, is very telling. Essentially, he wants to make sure that the production of these cars is continuing to go, because he doesn't want it to be 2 years from now and, there was one down year where Tesla was not making enough cars and then they started getting caught up by another manufacturer. This reminds me quite a lot of a story I heard of a construction company that was operating in 2008. This was such a big construction company. They had so much money that effectively what they were able to do is they were able to double their market share through 2008 as a construction company, because what they did, they literally just continued doing exactly what they were doing all the way through the recession, took a giant loss, but they didn't lay off people. They didn't have to close contracts. They didn't have to shut down contracts. They didn't have to, shut down their sales pipeline. They were able to continue their company operating the way that it had been, even at a loss, and they didn't downscale and lose 40, 50, 60, 70% of their staff, of their employees, so that they took that massive hit, so they'd have to rebuild back coming into, 2009, 2010, 2011, where the real estate market started getting hot again. That's effectively, I think, the exact same strategy that Musk is trying to do here if a recession were to come. He wants to keep Tesla running. Now, last thing I want to talk about here is his proposed $44 billion acquisition of Twitter that hopefully and seemingly will be coming to fruition relatively soon. Want to do more content on this in the future. Going to kind of leave it here for today. We're just going to read a couple of these things. But effectively, there has been a battle all year between Elon Musk and Twitter, because he was a minority shareholder. He owned 7%, and then it came out that he owned 14.9% of the company. And he was supposed to stay away from Twitter and be a passive shareholder, and then he wanted to be an active shareholder, and then he offered to buy it for $54.20. Obviously, that wasn't a coincidence. The number there, 420 being in there, he likes to put that number in everything. And by the way, that ties into my story that what I was talking about earlier about Elon Musk is ultimately he's a media personality, and people find him entertaining. Just little things like that people think are hilarious. A couple of years ago, he named the CFO of Twitter. Sorry, not Twitter. Soon he will be able to do that. But the CFO of Tesla, like the master of coin or something. So people just love stuff like that because it's entertaining. It really is. It's like people are watching modern-day Game of Thrones, and they've got this guy trying to compete for the Iron Throne, and he's apparently about to buy it and make himself king. But nevertheless, we should soon be seeing that acquisition actually go through. The date, if I remember correctly, to be watching out for is none other than October 28th. That's supposed to be the date that the acquisition will start to go through. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If that happens, that's going to send shockwaves through the stock market and through Bitcoin. And you need to watch this closely, because how Tesla is operating as a company and their share price and how he acts with Twitter is going to have a big impact on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We want to look at the correlation and the confluence between Bitcoin and the traditional markets. We're talking the S&P, the DJI, the Dixie. We're talking about, even the oil market to a certain extent has an impact on Bitcoin. And these are all things that we want to make sure that we are up to speed on. If you guys are enjoying today's show, make sure to smash that like button. We got 300 likes. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Make sure to tell me in the chat if there's anything that you would like to see more of in today's show. And any questions you guys have, now's the time. I'm going to spend about 5 minutes here reading chat. Then we're going to jump into some Bitcoin, Ethereum technical analysis. Then we'll probably take another break and then go to ADA, AVAX, and DOT, and we'll call it a show, guys. I'm really looking forward to the rest of it. Let's see what you guys have to say over here. Let's see. We got Adam Rorick in chat also, and Flare Staking. Shout out to you guys. Flare Staking said we're in recession. Yeah, it's so confusing, to be quite honest with you, because technically speaking, we are in a recession. We've had 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. We had negative 1.8 and then negative 0.6, I think are the numbers. So technically, a recession is supposed to be 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. But then again, we considered quarter 1 only of 2020 as a recession when there was only one data point, but then again, it was negative 30%. So we considered it a recession when you look at all these charts and it has a gray box where a recession happened. It considers only quarter 1 of 2020 a recession, which I think is absurd. And then, so you only have 1 quarter to define a recession, although it was 30% GDP drop. I mean, that was how bad the pandemic was. 30% of GDP wiped out in the span of a month and a half. Ridiculous. We have never seen anything like that. We've never seen $8 trillion in gross domestic product vanish that quickly in the United States. And then we have 2 quarters of GDP growth that's negative, which is what we're supposed to be. And then that's not a recession? We're making up terms at this point. It's absurd. Anywho, we have some very strange opinions coming out of the elites and the policymakers on Capitol Hill. By the way, guys, shout out to my wife with this cup. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. She got me this a couple months ago. It's a cup that says husband on it. It says strength, good leadership, good looking, leadership, hard work. She can hear me. She's in the room. She's probably over there blushing right now. She got me this. It's got coffee in it. It's got legitimate coffee in it. It's not water, not Monster or energy drink. I don't drink that stuff anymore. But coffee and crypto. We got to have coffee for coffee and crypto. So cheers. If you've got some coffee, 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Boom. Good stuff. Helping with my throat too. It's helping my throat because it's hot, but it's also hurting my throat because it's acidic. So I don't really know if I should be drinking coffee right now or not. Freedom Advocate said, have I been muted? No, you have not. Not to my knowledge. I didn't mute you. No, I didn't mute you. Jebb, are you still holding ADAX? Still believe in it? Not going to lie. Haven't looked at it in a while. However, yes, I actually would still be holding it because I haven't looked at it in a while. So thank you for reminding me of that. I need to go and look at that. I think the project is doing pretty well, but I haven't looked at it in a while. Yeah, Club DeFi, can we still sign up? Williest. Just so you guys know, I am working on getting Club DeFi back up and running operationally. I think I have figured out how to take over all of the customer service, over all of the office hours, and even, hopefully, here in the future, be able to make even more content for it. Got some preliminary plans on what we're going to do next with Club DeFi, but right now I'm trying to make sure that everybody who's currently in Club DeFi is being served because obviously office hours shut down about a week ago. But I'm trying to get those back online potentially as early as next Tuesday. And then after that, I'm going to make sure that everybody in Club DeFi is being taken care of with whatever they need to have done for them in their specific circumstance. Make sure that I'm able to take over all those operations because I'm going to be running all of that myself. And actually, Sarah is going to be doing a lot of help on that front as well with customer service and community management. So you'll be seeing some more of her in the Discord server over the next couple of weeks. And then we will be hopefully continuing to get Club DeFi members coming in. I really hope that that's going to happen, and I think it will. Good deal. Good deal. Veronica Gainey in chat said, good morning, everyone. Going to go for a couple more minutes here in chat, and then we're going to jump into the stream. We're going to continue doing some TA. Going to do some TA. Looks like Greg is in chat. The Tinder bot. Yeah, there's thank you to whoever is. Thank you, Shannon Sharp, for shutting that down. Nonsense. Get the nonsense out of here. Datus13 says, so glad you're back on the show, Jebb. Sending love and support all the way in the Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines. Let's see. Only 800% good looking, though. Yeah, what does it say? It says 800% good looking. That's generous. Golly. Glad my wife think I'm good looking because I certainly don't. Have you seen this face? Oh, I'm sure most of you would prefer if this was a radio show. That's all I got to say. Veronica Gainey said, excellent husband cup. I already drunk my coffee this morning. You know what? In toast to that, we'll have another sip because it's good stuff. There is a blonde blend that I get from Starbucks that I make my coffee with, but I was actually in Michigan about a month and a half ago while I was gone, and I got really hooked on this instant coffee, this Nespresso coffee, and it's just like this cheap coffee you get at Walmart, but it's so good. I don't know. Blonde roast, that sounds like somebody roasting me when I walk into Starbucks. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. UK Prime Minister just quit. Yes, that is actually something that I should have probably mentioned here. Truss, what's her name? Truss. She was nominated. She was actually her appointment was approved by the Queen like 2 days before she unfortunately passed. By the way, I wasn't on the channel when that happened. My condolences to anybody who is in the United Kingdom. She was from what I can tell anyway, she wasn't my queen, but I know she was the queen of a billion people or so. She seemed to live a very, very wonderful life. Now, I don't know much about her. I could be wrong on that, but it seemed like she lived a very, very, very wonderful life. So shout out to the Queen and shout out to everybody over in the United Kingdom who's probably still mourning right now through all of that. But yes, the Prime Minister was just appointed. Truss, what is her name? UK Prime Minister Liz Truss, that's her name. Here, I'll actually just pull up an article and then we'll jump into Bitcoin TA. UK Prime Minister Liz Truss resigns after failed budget and market turmoil. On September 23rd, Truss's finance minister, Kowalski, let's see if we can pronounce this, Kwasi Kwarteng, announced a so-called mini-budget, which began a turbulent period for UK bond markets, which balked at the debt-funded tax cuts he put forward. This name probably threw off so many of his teachers or her teachers in school. I know I would just butcher that. Kwasi, tell me in chat if you can pronounce this. Kwasi Kwarteng? It's a cool name. I just can't say it. Most of the policies were reversed 3 weeks later by the second finance minister, Jeremy Hunt. So PM Liz Truss announces her resignation at 10 Downing Street on October 20th, 2022 in London, England. So, seems like there's quite a lot of turmoil going on over in the United Kingdom over leadership. We love our friends across the pond, although we are glad that we are no longer ruled by them. Love you guys, but we like doing it our own way. I don't know. We're kind of rebellious at heart, which isn't a great thing, but either way. Am I late? Go CJC. No, you are not late. We are just chilling out here in chat. Let's see here. Martine Siebels said, Quasimodo. Jebb is not ugly. Well, I mean, Martine Siebels just told me I was Quasimodo. I've never been to Paris, but I mean, if I visited, maybe they make a movie about me. NMCT just donated, said, thoughts on Evmos connects Atom and ETH ecosystems. I've not looked into that too much, but that sounds pretty interesting. Low-budget crypto washing said, wish I would have known you were in Michigan. Yeah, I actually, like I told you guys, I was on the SS Badger, and I got to swim in Lake Michigan, which was absolutely awesome because I'm so used to swimming in oceans, the Gulf or the Atlantic down here in Florida, and you go swimming in Lake Michigan, and first of all, it's freaking cold. It's so cold. It wasn't that cold then, but I mean, it's, you know, there's a foot of snow that just fell a week ago now. But a month and a half ago, it wasn't terribly cold. Apparently, it was the warm part of the year. But we actually ended up, you know, just got back in the car. Car got soaked. Hour later, we're dry. It's awesome. For anybody who's ever been to Michigan or lives in Michigan, I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Really, really loved going into going on the Badger and doing that. I actually got to go on the SS Badger on my birthday. That was my birthday gift, was getting to go on that. It was really cool. If any of you guys are ever in Michigan, want to go to Wisconsin, or Wisconsin want to go to Michigan, it's a car ferry. They'll take your car across the lake also. Definitely worth the money. It was awesome. Anyway, I have been rambling for too long here. So let's make sure that we go ahead and jump into some Bitcoin TA, because I've got some things here that I want to bring to your attention. Before I do, though, can I just say this is like my favorite hour. Well, it's not quite my favorite hour of the day, because my favorite hour of the day is probably broken up between picking my son up in the afternoon and, you know, getting to wake up with my family in the morning. So other than that, this is my favorite hour of the day, getting to do this stream and really enjoying some time with you guys. But the thing that I want to show you here has to do with one of my favorite technical indicators in the entire cryptocurrency space. And you guys know it. We've been talking about it for a year now. It's none other than Lux Algo. I'm going to show you some of the things that it's telling me here on Bitcoin over US dollars. And I just want to, you know, I just want you to know up front, they're not bullish. And that's okay. That there is this myth in crypto that crypto always has to go up and to the right. Well, first of all, that's just not feasible. That's not the way it works. If you had literally nothing but green candles, and they were $1 green candles every single hour, Bitcoin would be worth millions already. It doesn't work that way. You've got to go up and you've got to go down. And then you go up and then you go down. Then you go up, then you go down. And that's the way it works. Period. End of story. So if you're in this mindset of, oh, Bitcoin's not going up, that's a bad thing. I don't want to hurt your feelings. But I don't know how else to say this other than you're wrong. Bitcoin is not always going to go up, and every time it's going down, that's not a bad thing. That oftentimes is actually a very good thing, because when Bitcoin goes up too quickly, it gets overextended. I like to use this analogy, and I'm going to apply this here on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's actually doing a great job if you understand this analogy. Whenever Bitcoin's going up, it's almost like a forest that is continuing to grow more trees and more trees and more trees and more trees and undergrowth and undergrowth and undergrowth and vegetation, bush here, you know, a vine there and Spanish moss there. And before you know it, as Bitcoin's rallying up to $70,000, you have just this super dense forest. I grew up in the woods. I grew up on 7 acres. I just love running through the woods. I had an English setter when I was growing up, Jackie, and she and I would just take off through the woods. Love doing it, but the thicker the woods are, the more dangerous they are. Not so much for traversing them, but for fire. Because if a fire strikes and you've got all kinds of underbrush that's so close together that it's killing each other, you know, there's so much underbrush that it's not getting enough light, and then there's just a bunch of dead debris on the forest floor. It's a tinderbox. And if it doesn't rain for a month and lightning strikes one day, dry lightning strikes, the whole thing goes up in flames. And that's kind of what we saw happen here in November of last year when Bitcoin hit $69,000. This was a tinderbox just waiting to go up in flames. You had a massive amount of metaphorical underbrush. And, you know, the metaphor in this case, that would be different traders that had gotten into the cryptocurrency space, and they were here like, well, I bought Bitcoin at $65,000. It's going to go to $1 million tomorrow, right? Well, that's underbrush, if you will, because they're going to, let's continue the analogy, they're going to get burned when they realize that doesn't happen. And that sets a fire. So what you have to do whenever the forest floor gets that crowded is that ultimately there's a lot of times only one thing you can do, and it's let a burn go through to clear all of that out. The big, strong, solid trees might live. The whole thing might get burned to the ground, but a lot of the big, solid, strong trees can actually survive a forest fire. And that's kind of what you saw happen here in the very last bit of last year and this year, is that all of the underbrush was getting burned. That being the noobs in the space, the people that just got into the space, the people that didn't understand technical analysis, fundamental analysis, on-chain analysis, long-term outlook, news, Bitcoin's use case, why Bitcoin. These people that did not understand this, the vast majority of people in crypto did not get it. And that's not their fault. Ignorance is not a bad thing. Ignorance is the reason that we teach things here on this channel. I'm not going to judge anybody for being ignorant on something. My job is not to judge them for that, it's to teach them, because I was ignorant of all of this at one point myself, and I just want to share the knowledge and the love, you know, of Christ, but also the love that Bitcoin has for people that will actually invest time in it. So as we saw the tinderbox get built and built and built and built, well, finally, we got too far, lightning struck, doesn't really matter what it was, and Bitcoin started falling down, and we started seeing burn and burn and burn and burn and burn, and now the only thing that's left are those hardwoods that are massive, those 100-year-old oak trees that even a forest fire isn't going to be able to take out. They'll leave when they dang well want to, and that's what's left, and you're probably one of them if you've been here in a space. Drop a 1 in chat if you've been here for over 5 years. I've been here for over 5 years now. I am one of those solid trees in crypto that you can tell me just about whatever you want. You can do just about whatever you want to my portfolio, and I'm still going to be here pretty much everything short of a 51% attack on Bitcoin. And good luck doing that unless you got $250 billion that you're willing to throw away into mining equipment and spend 5 years doing, and everybody would see coming, and then hopefully the Bitcoin network would come together and stop that. You're not going to get me out of Bitcoin. And there's a lot of you guys here that you're not going to get you out of Bitcoin. You're just not going to convince me. So that's where the market is right now. All of the people that were flaky, either because they didn't like Bitcoin in the first place and they were here opportunistically, or they just didn't understand Bitcoin. And there's nothing wrong with not understanding Bitcoin. I'm not judging those people. I'm just saying that they didn't understand, and they had other things to do. They had a job. They had an income. They had investments. They didn't need Bitcoin. They didn't realize they needed Bitcoin. They all left. Who's left? Is us. Again, that's not to say we couldn't see one last drop, and that's where this analysis comes in, because effectively what Lux Algo is telling us is just that. As you guys know, we saw a sell signal back here in early April of 2020. The market cascaded to the downside in a major way, following with this band right here. By the way, if you have Lux Algo, we're on Lux Algo Premium here. I actually need to update it to the most recent version, so it actually has a newer version than this. But you can see the EQ cloud right here in the center. We were staying below the EQ cloud, indicating that we were in very bearish territory. We tried to get above the EQ cloud right here, and we even saw this turn from red to purple, indicating that we are no longer under strong sell signal conditions, but under regular sell signal conditions. And we tried to break out, and there was a lot of hope right here that we were going to do it. But as you will remember, there was this rising wedge, and this rising wedge, we just said, look, unless we have a very large catalyst, Bitcoin's not going to be able to break to the upside. Then a Fed meeting came in, we saw 75 basis points, and then the market dropped back down here to 18,000 again. Ever since then, we've been setting lower highs and lower lows. Equivalent lows and lower highs. And that has also seen Bitcoin try and push into the EQ cloud here 3 times, fail every time. And right now, we are just completely trading sideways. There's no volatility. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me distinctly. I mean, it reminds me so heavily of 2018. just look at that. It's like we're looking at the exact same chart. Now, it's extended over a longer time period here in 2018, but it's effectively identical. You effectively get to the point where you're seeing similar lows, lower highs, and then the market just trades sideways. There's nothing going on in this time period from early September 2018 to early November 2018. There's nothing. I mean, Bitcoin's trading in a 5% range completely sideways. It's not ranging to the upside or downside. It's moving completely sideways. And that's what we're seeing happen now. Bitcoin is in this really tight range, 5 to 10%, trading sideways, doing nothing. Even just the last week or so, we're sitting in a 5% range. 2 days up, 2 days down, 2 days up, 2 days down. Today's up, tomorrow might be down. There's nothing going on. So we also see another thing to keep in mind here is you're going to find this on Lux Algo. You're also going to find it on the Bollinger Bands. Both the Bollinger Bands and Lux Algo are showing that the reversal zones for Lux Algo are tightening in an extreme way. You can see the reversal zones tightening, constricting, giving us this idea that volatility is dropping. You also see the same thing on Bollinger Bands right here. You can see the Bollinger Bands right here are so constricted. Compare that to what they looked like back over here, where they were a whole lot wider. Even go to the weekly chart, where you're going to get a lot better understanding of this. See how the EQ cloud, the reversal zones are converging here. Now, the weekly chart's pretty long-term time frame for Lux Algo reversal zones, but on Bollinger Bands, it works pretty well. You can see just how tight these Bollinger Bands are. It's ridiculous how close they are getting. The fact is, whenever you see volatility on an asset market like this drop that much, you're normally going to see a major movement relatively soon, because markets don't like having no volatility. Because if a market has no volatility, then people start leaving, liquidity starts drying up, the order books thin out, and then one person has to come in and go, I'm just going to buy $500 million worth of Bitcoin. Bitcoin moonshots. I'm just going to sell $750 million worth of Ethereum. Ethereum drops, Bitcoin follows it, then the market breaks out of that range. When the market ranges sideways, the liquidity dries up, which means the volatility dries up, which means the liquidity dries up, which means the order books thin out, which means that one trade can set anything off. It's actually another form of a tinderbox, like what we talked about at the top, except in this case, it's more like it's a completely dead forest, and then it hasn't rained in 10 years, and then lightning comes and strikes, and the whole thing goes up in flames, and then things start growing again from there. Completely clears it out, resets the landscape so that a new forest can come in, if we want to continue that analogy. So that's kind of what I think we're seeing on Bitcoin right now. Everything's dead as far as the industry is not dead. The industry is alive and well and doing great. But as far as the price is concerned, as far as the investors and traders are concerned, nobody's paying attention. Nobody's really watching Bitcoin right now. I mean, the viewership on this stream, for example, let me just look. We have 877 diehard fans watching this stream. Thank you very much. Make sure to smash that like button. This stream a year ago was getting 3,000 views, 4,000, 5,000 concurrent. We had 7,500 people watching the stream live at one point. I remember being on Around the Blockchain a little over a year ago. We had 19,000 people watching live. You know, nobody gets that kind of viewership in crypto anymore because so many people have walked away. And they'll come back, and they're going to realize, oh, man, I missed my chance. How many of you drop a 1 in chat if you're one of the people that got in, you knew about Bitcoin in 2018, and you were like wagging your finger at it like, haha, you hit $20,000 and now you're dropping. And then we saw it drop to 3,000 and you said, haha, I knew, I was right. And then you saw it go to 60 and you're like, oh crap, I should have gotten into that. And now you're in Bitcoin because you learned your lesson. There's so many people with that story. So many people with that story. I'm not judging you. I'm not blaming you. If you didn't know anything about Bitcoin, you watched it go from 20 to 3,000. Fair enough. But I think you probably learned your lesson when Bitcoin went to $60,000 or $69,000. So the fact is, Bitcoin's not going to die. It's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And it's going to be a $10 trillion market in and of itself one day in the future. And a lot of people are starting to realize that. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and read chat here for a little bit, and then we're going to jump into the rest of that TA. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Let's see here. Did I miss any super chats? Oh, I did. Cryptoverse, thoughts on XRP versus SEC trial so far? I'd have to catch up on it because I haven't followed it in the last couple of months, but the SEC is dragging their feet because I think they know that they're not going to get a whole lot. And ultimately, XRP has a lot of use case, even if it doesn't do things. Flare Staking said, do you still recommend Lorenzo Tax? That's a tricky question. So Lorenzo and I Lorenzo and I have always gotten along. We're currently using a different CPA though, so I'm gonna leave it at that. And you guys can actually find him. His name is Anthony Price, with the link in the description box down below. Want to make sure I don't, I just want to tread lightly because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Let's see here. Let's see. Read the chat for a little bit. Did I miss something? Is Jebb back? Jeff Moore said, I am back, and I'm back permanently, and I will indefinitely be the host of Coffee and Crypto. More news, more information should be coming on that hopefully next week. We're not quite sure just yet, but hopefully next week we will have more information coming on all of that. Crypto Mini Bike said, Christian will help explain a lot where he is in life. If we are fans, just understand it takes time for anyone to figure stuff out when stuff hits the fan. Yeah, guys, make sure to go check out Christian Maynard's stream. He was known as Smay here on the channel. The reason I'm referring to him as Christian is not because I'm trying to distance myself from him. He and I are still, on very good terms. But in fact, it's been really beautiful the last couple of days, some of the conversations we've had. But the reason I'm calling him Christian is because he was going through some, and I think I'm free to talk about this because all of this is public. He put this on his channel. He was going through, just some difficulties with his persona on the channel, and a lot of that was tied to this whole concept of Smay. So make sure to go and check that out. Really appreciated just how real he was in that video. Really big shout out to him. At Crypto Jebb, why did I lose my green name, bro? JT Skinner, I don't know. Why? I don't know why you lost your green name. Did your membership not renew? I honestly have no idea. I honestly have no clue. At Yanni Renton, sign up for Club DeFi. It's so worth the money. $35 a month, I think, and go through it at your own pace. Yeah, Club DeFi is wonderful. Obviously, there are some operational hiccups going on right now that we are going to be I'm going to be resolving, and Sarah's going to be resolving. Like I told you guys a little bit earlier, Sarah's actually going to be helping a lot with the customer service, community management of Club DeFi, so we're getting her trained up on that. I'm getting her trained up on that, and first of all, I'm learning how to take it over, and then I'm going to train her on that, and Club DeFi should be back up and running in its full form where we want it here in a couple of weeks. Is what it's looking like. Let's just go ahead and see a couple more chats, and then we will jump into some more TA. Going to run through a lot of this pretty quickly. You need to go back on Around the Blockchain. I was invited back on Around the Blockchain by DZ the day that I came back, a week ago today. So shout out to DZ and ATB. Probably will go on at some point in the future. Probably going to be a month or two before I go on. Just let everything calm down and make sure that I'm able to sustain all that. Because the big part of the reason, a lot of people don't know why I went off Around the Blockchain in the first place. The reason I went off Around the Blockchain in the first place is because I was in a very serious relationship. Then I got married and I was a dad, and it happens at 5 p.m. And I love Around the Blockchain. I had so much fun on ATB, but it was difficult with my schedule because, I became a husband and a father, and I'm not just shy of it. I want to spend time with my family. So now, though, things are a little bit, obviously... looks like I might be able to do that in the future, so considering all of that, was always a lot of fun. Met so many really amazing people on ATB. Shout out to DZ. They do a great job over there. Thank you for coming back, Crypto Ricky said. Shout out to you, my friend. What's it cost to be a green name? Well, I'll just go ahead and show you guys real quick. If you look here, you go down below the stream, you hit this join button right here. This is the membership. This is the Coffee and Crypto or Crypto Jebb membership. You can join as a Jebbi Youngling or a Jebbi Padawan or a Jebbi Knight, Jebbi Master, Jebbi Grandmaster, and these different tiers get you different things. And you can just kind of see all that information right here. And this is a video I shot about a year ago explaining what all the perks are, so make sure to check that out as well. We really appreciate our green names. And you also get a shout out here in the on the stream. Good deal. So we're going to go ahead and jump on to some TA. Going to run through this pretty quickly. Want to kind of look at ETH. Ethereum was trying to set up an inverse head and shoulders pattern here, and it failed. It did not manage to actually break bullish above 1340. It's been trading to the downside. And, the thing I want to point out here is that it did have some bullishness here. We saw a green-red-green formation here. We saw, if I remember correctly, Lux Algo had a little bit of a buy signal maybe down here on about the 15-minute chart, which if you were using Lux Algo, you would have been able to use this buy signal to call this trend, and even this strong sell signal over here to call this downtrend. By the way, if you guys don't have Lux Algo, you're missing out. I mean, look, this sell signal called all of this buy signal called all of that. Incredible technical indicator. Make sure to check it out with the link in the description. Use coupon code Jebb, J-E-B-B, for 20% off at checkout. But ultimately, guys, it's very difficult to be trading Ethereum or anything right now on a longer term time frame, because ultimately there's not much going on. I mean, the market is trading sideways. Ethereum has moved sideways for the last 30 days. It's been in an 8% range on ETH over USD. It's pretty much the same thing on ETH over Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's not moving either. So there's not too much of an update I want to bring to you here on Ethereum, other than it's pretty close to the take profit of its former sell signal, which is right here. So if ETH is able to get back up above 1,400, maybe up to 1,500, then you could see a buy signal come in. That would be wonderful. That's unlikely to happen for a while, though. And a big part of the reason that that's so difficult is because Bitcoin's down. So Ethereum's market is in high correlation to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes into a rally, Ethereum will follow. But if not, it's going to have a hard time. What I will say is that ETH may have actually already bottomed, because it did drop 81%, whereas Bitcoin ultimately only dropped about 74%. So Ethereum could theoretically have already bottomed out here around $917, which would be pretty cool. Down here at $1,300 is not a bad buy at all if you're looking to hold this into the long-term distant future. Let's go ahead and look at Cardano here for just a second. Like I said, going to kind of run through these pretty quickly. Cardano broke below a very important support level recently here around 42 cents, and it broke its market structure heading to the downside, following through with this trading channel. And that trading channel effectively doesn't effectively mirror, but before we broke to the downside and made this into a trading channel, this was essentially a descending triangle pattern, which did mirror what we were seeing going on Bitcoin. You see this descending triangle pattern here on Bitcoin, here on Cardano. So Cardano breaking to the downside here, as we said the other day, could very well be the canary in the coal mine to Bitcoin breaking to the downside as well. And if that happens, then that would probably have a knock-on effect on ETH. So essentially, Cardano may have called it, then Bitcoin could come in. Let's go ahead and get RSI back down here. Going to close that out for a second. Don't need it for the rest of the stream. Essentially, Cardano could have called the movement by doing it first, then Bitcoin could follow, and that could lead Ethereum to having another drop as well. So that's kind of how those three could come into confluence over the next little bit. Essentially, Cardano is just continuing to move to the downside further and further and further. If we look at the RSI, there's a little bit of good news. We potentially have bullish RSI divergence forming here. You see uptrends on the bottoms, on the lows here, downtrends on the lows right there. We have convergence on MACD coming in over the last 5 days. So hopefully all of that data can come in to give Cardano a little bit of a bounce here at 34 cents. But just going to be honest with you guys, it's very possible that Cardano could continue moving to the downside, in keeping with some of these levels that we had set back here, a very long time ago when we done analysis. I told you guys that 39 cents could be big because of this level back in May of 18. I also talked about how 18 cents could be big because of this level right here. How 27 cents could be big because of this level and this level right here. And a lot of those could be coming into play relatively soon if we did see Cardano drop down to 27 cents, for example. That would be, I think, a 92% retracement, 91.6% retracement on ADA. You want to talk about a buy territory? This is a great project. That would definitely be one. So if you're looking to scoop up Cardano, guys, you may get a better buy, but there's also a chance that you might not. This might be the lowest you ever see Cardano again. It could go down to 16 to 20 cents. However, $3 versus its all-time high at $3.12, $3.12, 35 cents to $3.12. That'd be worth the bet that, yeah, it could go down lower, but I'm not going to try and time the bottom perfectly, because remember, timing the market's more important than timing the market. Moving on, we're also going to look at Avalanche here. Avalanche has taken a pretty big drop over the last little while. As you can see, it rallied up to $31, all the way back down to $14.78 from all-time high. AVAX is down 90%. This is another project that has great fundamentals, and quite frankly, at the moment, has pretty solid technicals, and it has just been getting absolutely wrecked by this bear market. And you can see it just had this very steep downtrending level of resistance, just shoving it into the ground. But now what you've seen happen is that we have a downtrending level of support right here, the downtrending level of resistance here that's a little bit, doesn't have perfect touches, but you can definitely tell it's in effect here. And this falling wedge has a 70% chance of breaking to the upside, because, well, falling wedges have a 70% chance of breaking to the upside. It's already down 92% or 90% from all-time high. It's got support built based on this level back here. Going back into January, these levels back here from May of 2021 through August of 2021, and then lows set equivalently here in mid-June of 2022. And so it's very possible that we could see this market bottom out right around now. It's also possible that Avalanche could take another, Avalanche back to the downside, but and it could drop down to $10 or so. That could go as low as this level back over here that we set in June and July of 2021. However, that's not guaranteed. So if you're looking to get into AVAX for the long term, it's definitely a solid project to be scooping up. 6-12 months, I think you're going to be happy if you buy it down here. Anywhere between where it is now and down to $9.50, I'd say is a pretty solid buy if you are an investor. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion and what I'm seeing on the market. Another thing to show you here on DOT is something very similar is going on DOT that is going on Avalanche. You can see DOT is down 90% from all-time high over the last year, and it's got strong structural support here built from its price action back in 2020 right on through the very beginning of 2021 with support around $6. We actually did a price prediction at one point and predicted that DOT would go down to $6, and on July 13, 2022, it went to exactly $6.00. So that ended up coming to pass, and ever since, it's been dropping down and just having this kind of bottoming pattern form here. The majority of the market is going through this bottoming, and it's possible that if Bitcoin drops, it would flush out all of these altcoins to the point where even institutions would step in and say, wait a minute, you're telling me DOT is down 95%, you're telling me Cardano is down 93%, you're telling me Avalanche is down 95%. This is a buy, and you watch hundreds of billions of dollars flow in the span of 3 months because these institutions are not about to pass up on a $3 DOT. They're not about to pass up on a 20-cent Cardano. They're not about to pass up on a $9 or $10 or $11 AVAX because that's the absolute bottom that they're ever going to see again, because these institutions want to use the 2% of their portfolios that they're putting into crypto to make 100x for their clients to prove that Bitcoin actually is worthwhile. Because another thing to keep in mind is that at many of these companies around the world, you have different factions in them where a lot of the executive leadership may be more conservative and they like their own current business model and they don't want to get into Bitcoin because it's untested and unproven, although it is. But a lot of these altcoins aren't. But there are some renegades and some rogues in these companies that are, maybe some of them are watching this, that are going out and showing, no, wait a second, I can make the company a lot of money in crypto if you just trust me. People are putting their jobs on their line, their reputation on the line. And when they see Bitcoin and crypto making these companies 10x, 50x in the span of 2 years, you're going to start to see a lot more executives come around, and you're going to start to see a lot more companies adopting Bitcoin, not just in a little way like, oh, we put an ATM in one of our stores, but no, like in a big way, as in we're allowing you to pay for our goods and services in Bitcoin and crypto. Cryptocurrency is very close to the bottom, guys. Again, there's a flush out that I think is more than likely going to come on Bitcoin. I would put the likelihood at probably over 50% at this point that Bitcoin has another big drop to the downside. I know it's not popular, but I got to be honest with you because I don't want you to get blindsided. And by the way, if it doesn't drop another 50%, then what do you have to lose? I hope you're already buying at these territories. So if it doesn't drop 50%, don't get mad at me. Be happy that you didn't have to see your portfolio go down 50%. But if it does go down 50%, be ready for it. Try not to panic sell. If you're already overexposed to cryptocurrency, well, now would be the time to fix that. I'm not telling you to buy or sell, just saying, hey, look, understand that if you're waiting on Bitcoin to go up to cash out because you need money now and you don't know how to call JG Wentworth, then you might need to get cash now rather than waiting to cash out when Bitcoin is at $9,000. You don't want to be that guy who sold the bottom and then tried to buy the top. Be in a position, hopefully, to buy the bottom, sell the top, make your money, be happy, and move on about your life. So let's go ahead and read chat here for a little bit, and then we're going to wrap it out. Jebb, I bet you $200,000 that we won't see $30,000 for many, many months. Depending on many, many months, I would basically say that's probably true. $30,000 is probably several months away. I don't think we're going to see it this year. Don't think we're going to see it for many, many months. Let's see here. See if I'm missing any super chats. Nope, not missing any super chats. Let's see. Colin McDonald, who hasn't gotten a shout out yet, said, "Good day, all. Good job, Jebb and Sarah." Thank you very much. Sarah and I have been working hard to make sure you guys have all of the content. Working hard to make sure that we have coffee. Make sure to smash that like button if you like coffee. Also, I want to hear in the comments, not in the live chat, but in the comments below this stream, because I want to go back and look at it. What's your favorite bird? What is your favorite bird? My favorite bird is probably the bluebird. I've always loved bluebirds. We were in Tennessee recently, and we were just sitting there, and we were right next to the Little Pigeon River in Gatlinburg. We had an Airbnb there, and this bluebird, we were sitting there, and my son when I was a kid, I used to love walking around on the rocks down by the river. My dad would take me to the waterfalls, Cataract Falls, all these different falls up in Great Smoky Mountains National Forest. national park, and my son loves it too. So I was helping him walk around on the rocks, and he loved touching the agua. He calls it agua. And we were looking at the water outside the window because, I mean, it's literally right there. I mean, it's 5 feet away. There's no backyard. The backyard is the river and the creek. And so we're looking at the water, and then we go thud. And I actually have this on video. I'll have to show this at some point. I'll have to post this, and you just hear thud. And I look down, and this poor bluebird just flew straight into the window. Just, you know, you see it in movies, like a bird just flying to a window. Golly, I did not realize how much that hurts the poor bird. Bird was laying there on the ground. I went out with a paper towel, and I picked it up, and it wasn't cold yet. It was, 65, 70 degrees outside. Went out, picked up the bird, put it on this picnic table that was in the carport of the Airbnb, and just kind of let him rest there. And I ended up going outside about half an hour later with my son, and I had the video record. I have a video of this too. I got all this on camera, and he just took up and flew off. I was so happy because there's a lot of wildlife out there that probably would have eaten him. We saw 3 bears in 24 hours. We were walking out to our car, and we were behind one of the restaurants, and it was late. It was closing time, so all the employees were sitting out on the back. I was walking up to the car, and I had like leftovers in my hands, and they said, "Hey, watch out, there's a black bear there." And I look up, and sure enough, 5-10 feet in front of me, there's a 300-pound black bear standing in front of me. I'll have to tell this whole story another time, but there's this probably 350-pound black bear standing there. I was like, oh. So I was holding Malachi's hand, my son, so I put him behind me. I said, Sarah, go back up to the store. So she went back up to the restaurant, and so I started backing up. And then I was like, are you okay? And so Sarah's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little scared, but, naturally. So I handed her the food, and I left it there, and I started walking back towards the bear. I was like, where'd the bear go? Because I looked at it, and it was gone. But I was just thinking, man, that bear's going to come after all the leftovers that are in my hand, and didn't end up doing it. But no, we saw 3 bears span 24 hours. We got video of a lot of it. Had a lot of fun. If you guys have ever been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, let me know. That's where I was born. Tyler Wood said, I was just in Gatlinburg with my daughter. So beautiful. We saw bears in the little creek behind all the hotels. It was crazy. We were used to gators. Yep, I'm used to gators too, but I lived in Gatlinburg for the first 5 years of my life. I was born in Pigeon Forge, just north of it. I have a friend in Cosby, Tennessee. Beautiful area. Yeah. Mount Guyat. Yeah. Cool. Barn Owl, Shannon Sharp said, I love bluebirds, so it was nice getting to help that bluebird. Gatlinburg is an awesome getaway. Sure is. We got to go up to Klingman's. We have pictures of Klingman's Dome. I'll probably end up showing you guys some of those. It was so clear. I've been up to Klingman's 4 or 5 times in my adult life. It's never been clear up there. It was completely blue sky clear, and we got to see, you could see for 40, 50 miles up there. Going a little over time, but that's all right. Hi, thanks, Jebb. I have a conure. Wow, that's cool. Mockingjay. Mockingjay is a great book. No, I'm kidding. It's a great bird. Let's see. $877 cash now, Joseph said. Call J.G. Wentworth. $877 cash now. Jebb, Sarah said she would make me a hoodie with the bears you wrestled with your bare hands. Really? Did she? Jebb, can you get Peter Schiff on? He is always down to debate and talk about Austrian-style economics, problem with today's economy. I feel like you two share similar views there. You know what I would love to do? I would love to get Michael Saylor, who's a friend of mine, and Peter Schiff in the same room, because Patrick Bet-David's been trying to get them in the same room for a long time. People have been trying to get those two in the same room forever, and they just won't do it. Michael Saylor's willing to do it, but Peter Schiff was quoted as telling Patrick Bet-David, which if you don't know who that is, he's from Valuetainment, was quoted as telling Patrick Bet-David that he would do it if Valuetainment sent a private jet to pick him up to do the interview, which, I don't know. Peter Schiff just doesn't seem to want to debate with Michael Saylor. I wonder why. But yeah, bears are taking over. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a bear market. I saw 3 bears in 24 hours. That's got to mean something, right? It was really cool. It was really, really cool. No, we saw probably a 300-pound bear. We probably saw a 400-pound bear the next day, walking all around our front yard. It was sitting there camping out in the front yard of the Airbnb. I have all this on video. I'll have to share this. And so I started to open the door to go and look at it, and then Sarah's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I wanted to see the bear." I'm just kidding. She's over there laughing because she remembers that. Do you remember that? No, actually, I think I started to open the door, and I was like, no, that's probably not a good idea. But Jebb, I'm a big Schiff follower. Michael Saylor is ducking Schiff, not the other way around. Yeah, well, it seems like they're both saying that the other one's ducking. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's going to have to wrap it for today's stream. We went a little bit long. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media. You can find links in the description box down below. And before I go, there is one thing I want to mention, and it would be none other than one of the sponsors of this show, and they are BitGet. As you guys can see on my screen, BitGet is an incredible exchange with all kinds of different features and functionalities for you, the user. And BitGet has a special thing that we want to let you guys know about. It's none other than this copy trading functionality. You can see copy trading right here is something that a lot of people are very interested in because you might not have time to be a full-time cryptocurrency trader, but you still want to make the profit from trading. So one of the things that they allow you to do is come in here and copy trade some of these extremely profitable traders. You can see this trader principal right here has 1,000 people with him. He's got $2.5 million assets under management. Copier's P&L profit and loss is $900,000. Total profit and loss, $75,000. You can see over here, Judith, they're full, but $2.4 million AUM. Copier's P&L, $500,000. Total P&L, $1,400. A lot of really valuable things you can do over here with these different. Steve Cohen, his name you might know, 2.3 million AUM. Ethan has $1.28 million AUM, assets under management. This is really an amazing deal going on over here, guys. This trading, copy trading is really cool because, like I said, if you don't have the time to sit here and look at charts for 10 hours a day, but you still want to make the profits, then copy trading is something that you can consider. Now, that's not to discount the importance of making sure that you are actually learning technical analysis, fundamental analysis, but it is something that you might want to do on the side so that you can make a little bit more extra profit. So make sure to check BitGet out with the link in the description box down below. They are bitget.com. Make sure that you sign up today, get access not only to their copy trading, but also to their futures market, their spot market, and all of their other features, including, and not limited to, their launch pad, which we can talk about in a future video. Make sure to check them out, bitget.com. Links down below. Before I go, though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And actually, I also want to thank Martine Siebels for donating and said, thanks, Jebb and fam, great time again. But before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you, including Martine Siebels, for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.